就是西藏是一个特别舒服的地方，是一个特别慢的地方。
这次来就是县城变化太大了。
更多的把西藏的这个一些新的文化给传播出去。
多元让这个世界更美好。
For several months, a group of professional artists and amateurs, old and young, have been working on this THANGKA, commissioned by the Tibet College of Buddhism. THANGKAs have been discovered that are hundreds of, even over 1,000 years old. To see this group of modern THANGKA painters is to wonder, is this how artists have always worked, to create these religious masterpieces? Produced on cotton or silk, THANGKAs usually depict a deity or scene associated with Buddhism. Originally, most THANGKAs were intended to enhance personal meditation or to help the instruction of student monks. The composition can be highly elaborate and may include a plethora of tiny figures. Often, a large central deity is depicted, surrounded by other, lesser figures in a symmetrical pattern. Karma Tenzin was born in Shannan Prefecture, Tibet. He comes from a long line of THANGKA painters.
Tashi Tsering Latripsedi, Ramotoma Jombati, Go Zuje, Misebegi, Mary Henda, Madame de Keja Shivari, Kare Senachi, Puku Kore, Ramal Kasin, Pavada Ame, Kasakalaji, Kikin Tachi, Iji Yeva, Kikin the Yabachi Korva, Tendinch, Ti Zegachi. And Susuzala Pinja Yevin, Tapenarsha Chanange, Shamburajina, Ramatringere, and Dujuji, Sessan Yabochin Dange, and Tinga Pame, Matiji, and Kikanji Katata, and Yebu de Kushi, Galarangi, Ramayapachita Maumba, Rangarasu Tobachi, a big tangi Juteji Chapsi, Tajonarona, and Kesi Yabu Manjevin, Kirangan, Putilji, Dumbata, Kara, Jena Kirange, Touching on Ticheroji, to say, Gabriel under Shashan.
The course of learning to paint THANGKAs is difficult. It requires considerable patience and stamina, as it can involve many hours' work a day. An artist needs to be utterly devoted, since there's little time left for other pursuits. Proper mental preparation is vital. The artist needs to develop a sense of compassion, to purify his mind, and to rid himself of jealous thoughts. The painting reflects their meticulous approach to every detail. Old and young alike, the artists feel duty to promote interest in THANGKA painting.
Pena ji ngaranzo pegi latrip ji ramthoma kigen tembe kapso nasa thanga sedi thanga re thola labcha marungola sanje kudi shugugal ma kigenge kudi namba shisung jeje ma trije shugugal ramut thöson shini ane regal trichogore.
For months, they've been striving to attain artistic perfection. But it's also been a journey to cultivate their souls.
Ta derindi kyachichondi kane 我人一说是年开的搞的开我是呢，说这里的经济的都是搞的年开呢，先把什么记住，钱都是年开着呢，做我是两个具体怎么定这是给我的。开脸是最重要的，最后面THANGKA全部完成了以后，在最后面再开脸。开脸需要一个很好的日子，这个作品好不好？好不好呢？就是主要是脸部开好的话，这个算一个就是很好的一个作品。如果脸部开不好的话，那这个作品已经就是在不算就是精品的一个作品。
Traditionally, the pigments used in THANGKAs contain precious minerals, mixing gold, silver, pearl, agate, coral, turquoise, malachite or cinnabar with extracts of plants such as rhubarb and indigo, demonstrate a level of reverence. These natural materials guarantee that a THANGKA will retain its luster and brilliance even after hundreds of years, whether produced on cloth or a wall.
讲了的热干的讲干了这边呢，讲干了这边人们的大热套这边大几个没拿怕，你的的那几，知道个我呢吃热，可几不几样热，都是好把都热干这边带自己，洗澡操要的，干啥呢？热的可看边那路这看边那几看不起是那路这呢，有个面追求我的。공부 나리 마치 자침버리 빼나 공부해 침버리 군게도 없어 대처 말이 나시 잠도 천다도 봐 차바다 또 저보다 야면에 까지다 또 좀 많다 마치 빼나 야가도 버티게 군게 렌잠도 지샤 지디 잠바 답변은 비제 털 차전 레토 디지 야바 용이 베서도 이나다 장강 지디야 코르코라 미세 캐지요래 그래서나 야장 디기 人们满地光了家了呀，啥的等就咱们啥都做，人不搁在当过也没，都做了呀，呀古人瞧的去，这个旧了呀，第九写着这个呀，讲讲了，第是样，第是特别的查的过吧，相当的都是各上到了去，如果你，那人都是，那人是啥到学成几门都，对的，做第九的呢学车拿了，还当都说对用的话，那人都是对。 내년 쇼챔버 주된 동고고기 지 작벌 차도 디뇨 제 디주 다저 말에 일단 디주 때 천안이 제도 가르잖아 저뭐 니부터 스타트로 다운돼서 뭐 당하라서 등을 뒤져서
These portraits are the work of a photographer named Nyema Droma. In 2018, they were exhibited at Oxford University's Pitt Rivers Museum, which counts among its own collections more than 5,000 photographs taken by Britons who visited Tibet before the 1950s. They include many historical portraits of ordinary Tibetans. The works of the 26-year-old Lhasa-born Nyema Droma added a more contemporary feel to the exhibition. Nyema Droma has many identities: modern artist, designer and curator. In her photographs, she attempts to document the new Tibet, lying somewhere between the traditional and the contemporary.
我觉得，在做很多的事情来说，就会有一个责任感，然后就是会觉得想要，通过自己能够做到的一些方式去，传达我自己的一些想法，还有，更多的把西藏的这个一些新的文化给传播出去。
Nyema Droma prefers working not with professional models, but with ordinary people.
我很喜欢的一个尼姑，她也是我最好的朋友。她的接受 能力还是太强了。我平常喜欢的一些说唱啊什么，他可能过2天就已经会唱了。然后比如说我身上的纹身或者各种，他也都会觉得哇太酷了那种，我也要纹一个。所以我觉得其实就是西藏这种佛教僧人也好，尼姑也好，他们其实是非常宽容，非常能够接受能力是很强的。
Her works show Tibetan people out of stereotype.
他是我一个特别好的朋友，然后他是西藏的一个警察，在就是便民警务站上班的一个警察，他是有很不同身份的一个人，因为他是纳曲的，所以他是牧民，然后他对这个牧民文化的了解也很多，会经常跟我们讲很多东西，但是他又是一个警察，然后他又是一个说唱歌手。然后他又是一个街舞的舞者，所以我觉得他能接受到的文化是非常多样性的。然后他的一个状态，我觉得也是我很希望能让更多的人看到的一个这样的一个人物。
The contrast between the two images of each character, one wearing everyday clothing and the other a traditional outfit, reflects the diverse choices the contemporary Tibetan youth have for self-expression.
在伦敦，我做了一个毕业展，然后我的那些照片也被展出了。然后所有的人问我问题，就是 Did you bring the Budweiser to Tibet？ 然后他们以为我是，就是在西藏是没有 Tibet，没有那个 Budweiser。但是我告诉他们 ，Do you know Budweiser is actually like 在西藏是最受欢迎的啤酒，然后是怎么说呢？就是其实这个是我们在随便一个商店里面都可以买到的。
Though born in Lhasa, Nyema Droma was educated in Chengdu, capital of Sichuan province, from the age of 8. Later on, she studied in the UK. Having had no opportunity from the age of 8 to 21 to experience life in Tibet, she decided to return there after university. She says that only by living in the place she loves and is most familiar with can she have a sense of belonging. Because she feels at home, she's able really to express herself through her photography.
我觉得，我接受到的很多信息和我身边的人接受到的很多信息，还有我们的生活状态，是跟很多人了解到的西藏人是不一样的。
Mount Chumolangma, or Everest, has a special place in the heart of every Tibetan. Nyema Droma's father has reached its peak 3 times. His love and respect for the mountain inspired him to set up the Himalaya Snow Mountain Museum. For as long as she can remember, Nyema Droma hoped to emulate her father by doing something meaningful. Now, the responsibility of managing the museum has fallen on her. Ever since she was little, Nyema Droma has believed that a mysterious snow monster inhabits the sacred mountain. It may, in fact, be some strange actual animal, thinks. But whether it's real or imaginary, she imbues it with the same yearning and reverence that she feels for the mountains.
就是一个雪怪的尸体，尸体的解剖图里面打开都是一些真正从珠峰上面收集回来的垃圾，所以我们就创作了这样的一个艺术品，让大家去反思一下，也许可以用一种更环保的方式去生活。
这个是真啥个的？哎呀，这个是真讲啥个贝贝？人是把上了，我不穷穷的，吃了嘛，我对你说，赶紧，哎呀，哎呀，哎呀，他这是赶紧的，哎呀，哎呀，哎呀，人是明白了，人是大外学过，人是明白了吧？人是明白了，我不穷穷的。
Every Saturday, a group of avid young readers get together at the Nornor Children's Library. located in the eastern part of Lhasa. This is their newly discovered paradise. Before the library was established, they used an official account on WeChat called No Storytelling. It debuted during the National Day holiday in 2017 as an audio storytelling platform for Tibetan children. The platform broadcast from a small studio. A group of translators worked to render Chinese and foreign language children's picture books into Tibetan. The recordings were sent to Beijing for post-production. Although they eventually produced more than 400 audio programs and built up a following tens of thousands strong, the shortcomings of this approach had quickly become apparent.
但是我们发现这种是非常单一的这种交流，我们是希望能够线下能够跟小朋友们面对面的去讲故事，所以就产生了做绘本馆这样一个想法。
Tashi Tsering was born in Jianzi, in the southern part of Tibet Autonomous Region. As a child, he was brought up by his uncle. He never saw a picture book. He often says that if, back then, he had had as many picture books as he does now, his life would have been very different. In 2018, he went to Pennsylvania to study early children's education. He discovered that many children in the US, because they were encouraged to read picture books at kindergarten, were reasonably literate by the time they started elementary school. Tashi Tsering could see no reason why children in Tibet couldn't achieve the same level. All they lacked was access to picture books.
chocolate cake chocolate cake jiktan kakba chiri jik kwangwa nye che jik chura leble jik dinare gyuma salami jik che gyuba chiri jik che dikare siwi pe sur jik che pakpe gyuma jik che.
It was relatively easy to acquire the books. However, it was more of a challenge negotiating the Tibetan language copyright. After dozens of emails back and forth, he finally got the go-ahead to publish the first of the world-famous children's books. A month later, Tibet's children had their first sight of Brown Bear, What Do You See in their own language.
我们去年挑选了2本，就是这个是棕色的熊，你在看什么？跟这本的那个好饿的毛毛虫，这2本书是我们挑选的针对低幼的绘本。去年都给买了，天天我不穷天没，我不还是多，不钱不下多，后边的我不家里钱不行差余。 然后这2本书的话，就是尤其是这个好饿的毛毛虫，它本身是一本非常知名的儿童绘本，几乎全世界大多数国家都有各自的语言的版本。那藏文作为第66个语言被引进，然后大家能够看到以自己的语言的这种形式呈现出来。其实这本书是在我们这边是非常受欢迎的。哎呀，我不穷的再多点呗，钱嘛来行了去。就中西才是中午做的，我，哎呀，中西我这算，中年不多呀，年不多啊，这样子，我不穷了干月吧，钱嘛来不干月吧，钱嘛来干月呗，还得拿钱嘛来干月呀，钱嘛来民间月咱的呗，出去证明那做多啊，钱嘛来收干了呀，哎呀，点俺做个。 说把新都到本我不穷啥的，哎呀，哎呀，
Reading is an essential part of growing up. According to studies, children are sophisticated readers of visual texts and able to make sense of complex images on the literal, visual, and metaphorical levels. In the area of early childhood reading, Tibetan can now be considered to be on par with other languages.
我们有传统的东西，对，我们可以说一口流利的藏语，我们可以看一些藏文的书籍，这些是我们属于这个本民族比较传统的部分。但是我们也有更开明和开放的心，我们可以接受更多元的文化，比如说像老师这里的图书馆的英文书籍，我们也可以看啊，是吧？所有的都是一些。 财富和宝藏，多元让这个世界更美好。
By June this year, their collection had reached well over 1,000 titles. Whatever the picture book, as long as it's popular on the international market, Tashi Tsering will try everything possible to make it available in Tibetan. In a very short time, the children's library has developed from nothing to the point where it now affords youngsters in Lhasa the opportunity to choose from a vast range of literary classics. Besides Tibetan language picture books, they also have access to stories in Chinese and English. Traditionally, Tibet's children have had to travel to other parts of China to study if they want to broaden their experience and improve themselves. May's mother was sent away to study as a girl. Now, as the mother of a 7-year-old girl herself, she no longer thinks there's any need for her daughter to leave home in search of opportunities.
以前的话，大家因为为什么一直想出去？因为你在这边很多东西看不到。现在反而，我觉得像他到了6年级，我不会再送他出去了，因为只要是我们自己寒暑假，然后尤其是在平常给他看的东西、听的东西，然后接触的东西多一点的话，可能就不会说是再需要出去。
要我一份，我最喜欢听乐仪的。我比较喜欢的是柠檬的滋味、奥特曼的故事、毛毛虫、索菲亚的蓝别的故事。
In mid-September 2020, 2 visitors from Hangzhou were travelling in Tibet when they saw an advertisement for an art exhibition. It featured contemporary works by an artist named Droma. Intrigued, they decided to attend. Born in Lhasa in 1968, Nyema Droma has been passionate about art since her childhood. At the art department of Tibet University, she studied oil painting, one of only 4 female art students at the university at the time. The others have now all set aside their brushes after becoming wives and mothers, but Droma still feels the need to express herself through painting.
现在的人看文字的人很少，就是看我把文字的东西变成一个画面。画面的话，你看这么厚的一个书，看的话要花几天；再看一个画的话，他也花不了几分钟就马上知道。我就想表达那种的一个。
It's said that every true artist imbues their work with humanistic concern. Nyema Droma's approach to art can be described in 2 words: spirit and life. She is constantly thinking about life and death and reincarnation.
我最喜欢就是有点哲理性的那些，想动脑子的那种东西，有思考的东西，我比较那个。 挑战性的那种讲话的。
This is Gesang, the pioneering female curator in Tibet, who was the driving force behind this exhibition. In planning it, she wasn't initially concerned about how familiar she was with the artists and works. She spent considerable time studying the art and talking to the artists. She committed each work firmly to her memory, so that she could consider what, if any, place it might have in the concept for the exhibition.
芒姐，这最西的这是三部嘛没有说这多啊，第二50多，第来
现在咱们现在
第来陶瓷汤不得看，才这样的要用吧？第前一个水的像那要用吧？
是吧？
哦，对，看很多面的这是不全部的，的。
就没有这个的，
对吧？对我的是吧？
我的那你有的，这个可能细了的那个是吧？
哦，是。
这的也有的，可是
在我们西藏本土呢，以前从来没有做过我们藏族女性艺术家个展。村卓玛老师想做一个个展，然后问我能不能参与到这个项目中来。然后在这个交流过程中，我又觉得老师的人生也好、艺术也好、作品也好都非常有意思，然后我就直接接手了这个项目。
Gesang's perception of Tibetan contemporary art is unusual. Even in Tibet itself, it's a niche area. So, interest in international contemporary art circles is bound to be limited. But even a small presence is an opportunity to be centre stage for a while and garner attention. Nyema Droma acknowledges that she still has much room for improvement, from her painting technique to her broader understanding of art. As an artist, she is not particularly outstanding, but her dedication and humanism never fail to impress audiences interested in her work.
我觉得女性画家的话比男性的话有一点优势，因为我这个角色就是我又要当老师的角色，又要当妈妈的角色，又要当那个画画的角色。
先这样，我说。 ဒီနာက
ဒီလေခင်းလဲကျမတို့
路ဆိုရရာဆိုရဒီနာစကြတဲ့ကကလန်ကလန်ကဒီ风格的ဒီနာ罗罗多
ဒီလေရွေးစချရတဲ့ဒီနေ့都直接恩是呀，地大找不进样子。
ဒီကလာ力自己原来力自己不要有呢，
不要有的，
自己不能是吧？ဒီနေ့你呀可以姐姐拖给他的去啊，拖给给。 包括西藏当代艺术，它比较难能可贵的一点就是说，它在表现西藏正在发生的一些东西，它是一个正在进行时。我觉得能把这个展现给更多的人的话，也是一种很好的一种交流吧。你看这是哪个？
这对着小跟着那个中央美术学院陆军去的会。
哦，这是嘛这个？
当代美术20年，
启示录。 中央美术学院进修去的人，那是。那谁个？都盯着日子这些。
这不是说？
哦哦，对呀，陆先生，那谁那谁。
These days, a group of contemporary Tibetan artists are exploring more novel artistic forms. But they continue to be nurtured by local tradition, whether in the form and content of their work, or in their spirit and humanism. In Tibet, where there is such a close relationship between art and the land, tradition will always be a rich source of inspiration, even for contemporary artists like Nyema Droma.